Welcome to Same Work, Different Lens, the podcast where two professionals from the same workplace bring different generations to the same conversation.
We don't always see things the same way, but that's the point. We talk real life, real work, and real community issues.
From family and wellness to leadership, money, and systems that shape our lives.
We're bridging the gap between what was, what is, and what needs to change.
Let's get into it. Good morning, Cassandra.
Good morning, Kamisha. What's today's topic?
Today's topic is community, advocacy, and civic engagement.
Great topic.
Yeah. So I guess we can kick it off by saying, like, what does community really mean to you?
Community is, and I'm assuming that you're just not talking about geography. You're talking about what my definition is, and it's about having shared responsibility, being a part, having shared experiences, and our outcomes are very similar. That's what community means to me.
Yeah, I agree, right? Like community is your family, your friends, people you work with, people you go to church with,
Yes.
your local grocery stores, all of that stuff, right?
Right.
So let's not waste any time.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, so growing up here in this community versus working here, right? It has a different meaning to me. The definition of community hasn't evolved to me. Augusta, the Richmond County area is often described as a big city with a small town mindset.
It has been.
Rich in history, but struggling with progress.
Absolutely. Definitely struggling. We have a lot of disenfranchised communities out there.
We do. And it's a visible divide between South Augusta and West Augusta. It's always been like that, right?
As far as I know, it has.
Yeah. So I feel like organizations like ours, right? Nonprofit, we become the bridge between systems and families when it comes to community and the work that we do. The role of generational ties, everybody knows somebody who knows somebody, and community pride versus community silence, especially around those tough issues. I feel like it's something that we need to start tackling.
We do, but okay, the elephant in the room is definitely money.
Yes. Money, money, money.
Money. And people priority list is a big part of that. They don't prioritize going out in the community doing the work because it takes a lot of effort to do that. APC is always out in the community doing different things. We do the project refresh. We do the diaper and formula drive, that type of thing. We go and help out at Golden Harvest. So we out there trying to help our community, but it's so very hard to get others on board to take time out to do that because that's not a paid gig.
That's true. I feel like working in a family servant organization like Augusta Partnership for Children, it gives us a front row seat to some of the issues in our community, like housing instability,
Yes.
Child care,
Yes.
mental health stigma, transportation barriers, and food insecurities.
Poverty, period. Yes. And it's hard to address those issues without funding and without, I must say, the buy-in from the people at the top. It's very difficult to get things started. APC can only do so much. We can't handle the homeless. We can help redirect to the available resources in the community, but other than that, we can't house them. What do we do? Who do we go to? Who do we send them to?
I think that's kind of what advocacy comes in at, right?
Yes.
Because with advocacy, you have us, right? APC, we've sat on people's couches, listening to them cry over lack of support, lack of resources, right? There's this idea that a lot of people just don't want to do. They don't want to do better for themselves. They're not willing to do this, or they're not willing to go and get it. But the truth of the matter is we are under resourced.
We are under resourced. And sometimes I don't even think how the people don't want the assistance and help. They tired of going asking for help and not receiving it, or being looked upon, being judged upon. Why didn't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you just get out and work? But it's not always that easy because other things play a role. I want to go and work, but I don't have transportation or the money to pay to use public transportation. So there's always other issues holding them down. And sometimes when you go to these other organizations, agencies, or whatever, they don't always understand the whole picture, which is why we do the poverty simulation to expose people as to what goes on, what it takes to make it out there.
Yes, the poverty simulation is a very good
Mhm.
program or thing that we at Augusta
Yes,
Partnership put on
absolutely.
for the schools to give our young people some insight on what their parents may be going through.
Yes, yes. And they really get a lot out of it. Some walk away and say they didn't know. They didn't know that their parents or their guardians had to go through that just to get them to school every day. They did not have a clue.
Right. Yeah, and that's a part of our advocacy, what advocacy looks like to us here at APC. It also often looks like helping a parent understand an IEP, right?
Yes.
Connecting someone to a utility resource, which are almost slim to none these days,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Showing up to school board meetings and translating system language into everyday terms so the parents can understand what's truly going on.
Right. I like that. One thing I also like to bring out, Kamisha, is that what those advocates look like. It doesn't necessarily have to be the elected officials. It don't have to be the CEOs or the social influencer. It's you and I. It's parents. It's volunteers. It's all of us working together to make it work.
Yeah. What you're speaking about, Cassandra, I think is micro versus macro, right?
Yeah.
So on our level is more of a micro level because we're dealing with one family at a time, one person at a time, one situation at a time. And that macro level is for those politics. It's policy level change. What's being done in the community to affect a whole versus just that one person or that
Right.
one family,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. I think that's very important. And you mentioned policy change. A lot of people think the ones in the community, the ones who have their how can I put boots on the ground out there in the trenches. A lot of people don't think that what they're doing can make policy change, but it can. You just got to stick with it. You just got to be vocal. You just got to keep pushing through. And a lot of times policies do change.
Yeah. Policies change, right? But we also need that civic engagement. Why do
Mm,
you think it's so hard for
mm.
civic engagement in our community?
In our community. Wow, that's a great question because I fight with that constantly because I'm one of the co-leads of a strategy team here at APC, and I often wonder why people just don't show up at the table. That's not a reason. People got a lot on their plate nowadays, and a lot of times when they look at what's on their plate, they have to prioritize what's important to them and what's not. Even though it's important that they don't understand that working within the community really does help everyone, it's very difficult when you face with a lot. It's hard to choose, and of course, at the end of the day, you're gonna choose your family over going out helping other families. So that's part of it.
Yeah, I agree. I also feel like there's a historical mistrust of our systems,
Mm.
right? The healthcare system,
Talk about that.
the education system,
Yes,
and our government.
and our government. Let's
I
be going.
mean, these last few years, we have been shown over and over again how those three topics right there alone
Mm.
are not as important as they should be.
It's the climate now. That's the climate.
Those topics are not at the forefront of conversations being had. We are continuously seeing things being taken away from the school that's supposed to be teaching our kids
Mm.
and a benefit for our kids, right? It's being taken away versus more programs and benefits being added to help them with the evolving community that we are in right now.
Mm. Great point. But again, it's going to take more than one person. It's going to take all of us working together to come together. And I don't want people to think that we just need to depend on the higher up. It takes us, just little me old you, little me old me, going out there and being consistent with what we're doing. That's the thing. You know, we just can't step in one second. Well, I'm going to go over here and volunteer. for one day, 2 hours, and then walk away from it. That's not going to make an impact. Not a great on the larger scale. It's not. So we need to think about that.
Yeah, so for me, I
Mm,
think civil engagement
okay.
includes things like attending commission meetings,
Yes.
serving on advisory boards,
Okay.
participating in neighborhood associations.
Okay.
It can be something as small as volunteering for a nonprofit like Augusta Partnership for Children, right?
Yes,
It
yes.
doesn't have to be something extravagant, something major. It can start by doing one little thing, volunteering 1 little hour to make a difference.
But see, that's the point. A lot of people don't think they belong at those tables, and they do. I don't have to have a 4 degree certificate on my wall saying that I can not bring something to the table. It doesn't take all that. I could just come to the table with my lived experiences and share that. And that could be very helpful at the table. So I want people to know that whatever wherever they're at, they are welcome at those tables. They just need to show up.
Yeah, I can agree too. Like, I feel like maybe a lot of people feel like they don't belong at those tables, but we also have to talk about the barriers to engagement, right?
Mm,
Time. A lot of people work full-time jobs, multiple jobs at that, right? On top of being a parent or a caregiver for an older parent. And like, where's the time, right? Where's the time to do these things? Where's the time to engage? Also access.
okay.
Access is another barrier. Meetings being held during work hours. It just not matching up with your lifestyle, your
Right,
livelihood, or what you have going on for you to be able to be engaged. And
right,
awareness.
right.
Awareness is another big one. Not knowing when or how to get involved.
So who do we put that on? We put that on that person, or do we put that on the organizations, the committees to get the word out and make those changes so that everyone be able to show up at the table?
I think it's a shared responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a shared responsibility because you as the individual, you should be seeking those opportunities, right?
Right.
And then the organizations, we need to do a better job at getting it out. There's
Absolutely.
always room for improvement.
Absolutely. Now, I want to talk about just because you're seeing your name is out there, everybody know who you are, you're loud. Does that make you a great advocate for the people?
Absolutely not.
Okay, come on.
Absolutely not. I think what makes you a great advocate for the people is you meeting the people where they are.
Okay.
Talking to individuals, hearing their stories, actually listening to what the needs of the community are, not just putting somebody in charge and saying, hey, go and do this survey with 150 people and let us know the results so we can go out and speak on what's needed.
And
That's
then nothing happens.
right. And that also doesn't reflect a true picture of what's needed in the community. The people that
Absolutely.
are sitting on let me see, how do I say this? People that are in offices
Mm-hmm.
making major decisions for
Okay.
policy change,
Okay.
um, need to get outside of the office a little bit
They need to
more.
be in the trenches. They
They
need to know what that's
do.
like.
They do.
Absolutely.
And even if it's not on a daily basis, before making those major decisions, go to those people, go to those communities, go to the organizations who are serving those people and find out what the true needs are, right?
Yeah, that's true. And we've had that to happen, but nothing ever comes out of what's the outcome. That's the part that we're missing. You know, they may be out there, they may be taking, going out in the buses, out in the police cars, connecting with the community. Once you've done all of that, what's next? This is what the people want to know. What's next? I hear you. I seen you. I have even spoken to you, but nothing ever comes out of it. And so if we experience that time and time again, after a while, I don't want to talk with you anymore. I don't want to answer any more of your questions. I just want to see it happen. Something, anything.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay,
I can agree with that.
okay, okay. Another thing, point I'd like to make is that when your community needs you, do they know how to find you?
And are you speaking about the organizations or the people who are in charge of making decisions?
Everybody. It's all part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they know where to find you? Yeah. We need you. We need your help. We out here struggling. You see us struggling. You don't show up. And if we go look for you, do we know where you're at? And then when we knock on your door, will you answer?
Mm, okay.
Okay.
One of the generational shifts, right,
Okay.
in
Yeah.
advocacy, I feel,
Mhm.
millennials and generational X
Let's talk
um
about it.
are
Yes.
engaging differently than the baby
Absolutely.
boomers.
Absolutely. Okay. Come on, baby
Yeah.
boomers.
Social media activism is real big now, right?
Yes, it is. Is that does that really help the social media piece?
I feel like the social media piece does help, right? Because it is getting the attention of those who rely on social media. And just being honest, that is majority of our young people these days.
That's true.
That's where they get their news. That's
That's
how
true.
they communicate. That's how they keep in touch. So it's a big piece.
Mhm.
Do I feel like it replaces the in-person engagement? No, I
No,
don't. I feel like we still need that in-person engagement, right? We still need to make those connections in person, have
yes,
those bonds, build those relationships.
absolutely.
All
That
of that,
one-on-one means a lot.
yes, that is important as well.
Yes, it is. But you're right. The my generation, we were more on the structured advocacy. We we had to do step by step by step. Your generation and younger, they're like, okay, this need to be done, that need to be done. Let's all come together. Let's mobilize and let's get it done. Let's be vocal about it. We're not gonna stand for this kind of stuff. And then my generation more laid back. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's pull everyone together and let's decide the best action to take.
Mm, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see the difference in that too.
yeah.
I also feel like the younger generation, when it comes to advocacy and
Mhm.
civic engagement, a lot of them are wondering, okay, like what's my return on my civic participation? And
Yeah,
what I would say to those asking that is, your future.
right.
Yeah.
The future of your community, period.
The
Uh,
future for your kids,
Yes.
your
Yes.
grandkids.
So yeah. So they want to know what's the outcome and how it's going, what's the major impact it's going to have on their lives. Yeah, you're right. Your future. But one point I also like to make it, can I backtrack a little bit
Of course.
about my generation?
Mhm.
I thought about how this generation is loud. But then let's go back. Back in my day, Martin Luther King's, the John Lewis, the Hosea Williams, they were very loud and outspoken and mobilized and moved. So yeah, they're the one who started it. Young people think they're doing it now. They think they are the ones who started it, but they're really not. They've forgotten about Martin and them jokers. They did it. They the one who mobilized it.
Why are they forgetting?
Because we're not teaching Black history like we're supposed to.
Mm. So that's one of those things, right, that we was talking about when it came to these mistrust in systems.
Yes.
The education system, since we're on it, we're
Mm.
not educating about Black history. That is something that we should be advocating about.
So who do we talk to about that, Kamisha? Uh,
I would say start with the board. Go to
mm,
those board meetings.
mm,
See what's being talked about when they're holding these meetings about curriculums or what's
right.
being taken out, what's being added, and voice your opinion. You have a voice. For those parents who are wondering, I know I have received at least 3 emails this month
Okay.
about a climate survey that came out
Okay.
asking different questions, and there's always things that come out in either an email or the kids are bringing home something,
Mhm.
and it may be you having to sit down for a minute and scanning a QR code to do a survey. Those surveys are important. We may feel like it's something very tedious and I got to cook dinner, it's taking up time, and I'll look at that stuff later, but they're important for these reasons right here. Black history not being taught in the school.
So, what do you do as a parent educator to help encourage those parents out there? Listen, when stuff like this come up to you, act on it.
Absolutely.
So,
Be engaged. Find out what's going on. Let your voice be heard because uh not saying nothing at all, this is the result we end up with.
so we need them to show up.
And we also need to educate our own children, right?
Mm,
Like, yes, our kids are spending most of their day, Monday through Friday, at that school. And we, the community,
hmm,
rely heavily on school
too.
and the teachers to inform our kids of these things. But it is also our responsibility as adults in the community, as parents, if you are a parent, to inform our kids of these things that are not being taught.
You say a very important word. You say educate, educate our children. But what about educating ourselves? It's very difficult for me to educate anyone else if I'm not educated, Kamisha.
That is true.
Mhm.
That is true. So I guess that kind of plays into the part about engagement, like getting engaged, going to some of these Black History Month ceremonies that you may hear about in our local agencies at the library or
Yes.
at the hub. If a school is putting on something like, yeah, I know you tired after you get off of work, but go and show face. Show your kids that those things matter. Show them how you engage in the community because that's going to play a part on how they feel about engagement in the community, how they feel about advocacy.
Absolutely. All they need to do is what? Step up. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now I want to challenge the people who are listening in the community. Pick an action. Pick one action. Something that may have been worrying you overnight while you're sleeping. You know, I'm worried about this. What's going on? What's going on? Pick that and take action on it. It's always one step at a time. If only you just make one phone call to let the leaders know how you feel. That may be all it takes. And it may or may not do anything, but at least you're taking action. So I'm encouraging everyone out there to pick a cause, pick an action, take that next step. Only one. That's all I'm asking. Only one. And can you imagine if everyone did that? What can come out of it, Kamisha? Can you
It
imagine?
it would be amazing. And I like that, Cassandra.
Mhm.
So this is like a call to action, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I get that. And I like the fact that you said start small.
Yes.
Start small, attend a meeting, join a community group, ask one question, like you
Yes.
stated.
Yes.
Yeah, support local nonprofits
Yes.
like Augusta Partnership
Partnership
for
for children.
Children.
Yes.
And we're not just talking about financially, right?
Right.
But volunteer, see what's really going on. Stand side to side with us
Mm.
so you can see firsthand what the disenfranchised and the less fortunate are going through on a daily basis. Share resources. If you know
Yes.
about an agency or somewhere they're giving out something or doing something that's going to help the community, share those resources, even if it's not something that you can benefit from.
Right.
I'm sure there's someone you're connected to at work, at church, in passing that could benefit from that resource.
Right. And I would like to point out that, well, some people will say, well, I don't know what's going on in the community. Hey, listen, go to Augusta Partnership for Children Facebook page. We're always posting the upcoming events and things that's going on in the community. That is the way for you to find out. Hey, we don't mind answering the phone and asking questions. So call us up. We'll be glad to share that information with you. And if you have some questions, if we don't have an answer, we're going to try to figure it out for you.
You see how you just said something about Facebook? That's how that social media play a
That's
part,
true.
right?
That's true.
Because not just Augusta Partnership for Children,
Right.
but most of the organizations around here, they post what's going on
Right.
their platform, on their social media pages or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And again, teach civic responsibility to your children early by letting them see you engage.
Right. Oh, engage. That's right. I
Yeah,
love that.
by
I
doing one
love
of
that.
those things that we just spoke about.
Community engagement. And I want people to know that we're not calling them out. We just asking them to step up. Hey, you may not have done anything up to this point, but let today be the first day that you actually start stepping up and taking action on the issues that's impacting our communities.
Yeah, I agree. I saw this quote earlier
Mhm.
this week that I feel is so fitting for
Okay.
this podcast, right?
Mhm.
And I just want all of the listeners to know like community change is slow, but silence is slower. So make your voice be heard.
Oh, I like that. That's a great way to end the podcast today. And so remember, ask your question, what am I doing today to help my community? Am I helping it or am I hurting it?
Cassandra, this was a great podcast, don't you think?
Thank, thank you, Kamisha. It was, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Until next time, bye
Bye.
bye. Thank you for listening to Same Work, Different Lens.
Two
Two
professionals,
professionals,
two
two generations,
generations,
one
one
evolving
evolving
community.
community.